Next up, we have the Senior MiniMoto class for race 1, the first race of round 2 here at the Lydd circuit. Of course, there still is some, of course, at round 1, we were racing here at Lydd, so riders very, very familiar with this racetrack.
Yeah, they've put in plenty of laps so far. I imagine that the adults will be... they can fuel up with coffee first thing in the morning, and unlike the kids, so they can get themselves woken up. But it is always fun to see these big riders on these very small little bikes.
Yeah, it's quite a sight to see. It's a sight which takes quite a lot to get used to. But some of the riders from some other previous action are heading into the pit lane now, and then we'll be able to get underway from the Senior MiniMoto class. So if you're joining us, you've joined us at a great time, because the Senior MiniMoto class is just about to get underway. Please like and share and comment who you're supporting down below. Of course, thanks for joining us here on both the Motorsport Radio Facebook and YouTube page, and the FAB-Racing Facebook and YouTube page. You can see some of the riders waving to the camera, and they're clearly very excited to get underway.
Absolutely, they've been watching the footage back. They know where our cameras are positioned and when's a good time to race. But look how tiny these little bikes are. It's fantastic. It's just so entertaining, and I'm so jealous of how they're able to get themselves in. This is the Senior MiniMoto round 1 of the day.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive that you can sit on these bikes, never mind go around the racetrack on them. Of course, you need to be very flexible to be able to race in this class, and if you're a slightly smaller rider, it's really going to help you in the Senior MiniMoto class.
Yeah, totally. Although it can get a little bit muscular as well, going around the racetrack as the seniors get themselves organised. We'll go for those warm-up laps very shortly, and we have a nice strong grid of. We're looking at what are we looking at? 19, 20 drivers here, riders here. What are we going to expect from this one, Lewis?
Yeah, I think we're going to expect something different from yesterday, because Matt Birkin, our pole position man, will not be racing here today. He has other commitments to do with some work back at home. So he's away home for today's action, because, of course, we are racing on a Monday here today. It's the Easter holidays, the start of the Easter holidays. But his brother Josh Birkin will be the only rider and the sole rider on the front row.
Yeah, and Will Howarth is going to be behind him with a nice clear view into turn 1. What kind of chance do you think Will Howarth will have into that turn 1 without a rider in front of him?
Yeah, Will Howarth has clear track in front of him. It just means he can really position the bike wherever he wants, and he doesn't have to rely on someone in front of him getting a good start and not having any issues, which could potentially slow him up. So the riders will be very, very confident, and 19 riders, as we said, on this grid. But it's going to be Matt Birkin, who should have been starting in pole position, with Josh Birkin alongside him.
Will Howarth looking very young there, right?
Yeah, Matt Birkin definitely smaller than what he was before, but Will Howarth will be starting in third with Rhys Gentry alongside him. And the third row of our grid will have Mark Payne and Nick Bennett. Holly Harris will be starting in 7th, next to Chris Yeomans in 8th. Keaton Payne and Alberto Vinteo rounds out our 5th row of the grids. Callum White in 11th with Lamar Morgan alongside him. David Mayat starting down in 13th with Gary Eldrig alongside him in 14th. Jerome Richards in 15th with Rob Gentry alongside him. Isaac Greenstreet and Steve Jones rounds out our 9th row of the grid, and Jensen Bishop rounds out our grid. But you can see one of the Gentrys there having some issues. Rhys Gentry having issues straight away before the race has even got underway.
Yeah, so that's another hole in our grid as they go round, and I think that bike is completely unpowered by the look of things. It's being used as a mini scooter at the moment. Yeah,
getting used as a mini scooter. His knee is on the seat of the bike, but there is what's technically going to be our pole position man in second place on the grid. It's going to be Josh Birkin. So what can Josh Birkin do from the front row with no one next to him?
Well, he was very impressive. He probably won't thank us for saying that his brother was more impressive in round 1. In round 1 here at Lydd, but he won't need to worry about that today. His main rival is going to be Will Howarth, and then there's another hole behind, directly behind him. So a strange looking grid we're going to have away from the start here.
Yeah, a strange looking grid from the start, but once racing gets underway, normal action will resume, and I'm sure it's going to be more of the same, of just riders bashing bars all the way throughout the race and having a beer once they go off the track, and because everyone on this grid are great friends.
Well, they spend the whole racing season spending the weekends together, and it's a very tight-knit paddock here. literally and figuratively, they are very close quarters with each other. So you do have to get along in order to be on this tour.
Yep, and you can just see the start marshal waiting to get things underway. There might be a slight delay to start procedures. All riders waiting to get underway. Josh Birkins will be slightly nervous at the moment, but I'm sure there'll be a massive smile underneath his helmet. He looks behind him to see what's going on, but he can't really see anything. So riders now still waiting to get the get-go.
We're missing Will Howarth, it looks like, from P3. That we did see a rider come through. So it looks like Will Howarth is missing as well. 1, 3 and 4 missing from our grid, but it's about to get underway, Lewis.
Yeah, it's about to get underway. Lights are on. And the lights are off and we are racing. Some of the riders already trying to get a better start than what they probably should be. But Josh Birkins will be the lead rider in the Senior MiniMoto class for race 1 of round 2 here at Lydd. Josh Birkins leading the way. You can just see Nick Bennett in 3rd position. And in between them will be Mark Payne on the number 18 bike. So Josh Birkins, a great start from the number 2. What can he do? Of course, he's not got his brother coming through the field this time around. So a slightly smaller grid than what we're used to at round 1, but I am just hearing from here that race control will be investigating some of the starts.
Yeah, they were getting a bit lively, and maybe just getting the clutch settled as well, and it wasn't quite working for them. I don't think any rider would be doing that deliberately. It's quite a slam dunk penalty. Down the inside into the infield goes the black and white leather driver. That's a 3-second penalty for Mark Payne, and this was a golden opportunity for Mark Payne. He'll be kicking himself.
Yeah, Mark Payne from 5th position made it all the way to 2nd place, but he did have a jump start. He creaked past his line.
Oh, look how busy it is into turn 1. That is Nick Bennett on Mark Payne. So Nick Bennett getting the job done very quickly.
Yeah, Nick Bennett, a great move there at turn 1 at the first chicane. Very, very confident. Nick Bennett, of course, quite a tall rider, and he really has to use everything to be able to stay on that motorcycle and to keep his legs on the pegs, of course.
Yeah, and I don't think Mark Payne is going to know about the penalty at this point, because there's no radio communication here for the rider. So it's something that they would find out later on. Mark Payne dropping down the order then to P8 at the moment.
Yeah, no, Mark Payne was wanting perhaps a slight issue on that last lap, but Holly Harris is just behind this gaggle of riders trying to make her way up the positions. Holly Harris is currently in that 4th position last time around, so what can she do from there? We're going to have to wait and find out. Of course, she's a slightly smaller rider compared to some of these adults, so she does have the height on her side, and yeah, it looks like that will pay a great advantage, and hopefully she'll be able to get some sort of a slipstream, as Josh Birkins sets the fastest lap of the race with 56.7.
Yeah, and the gap in the field, with losing a few of our favourites, means that I imagine Josh Birkin will be unchallenged at the front, at least as far as other riders from behind will come. But it's very, very tight here for the podium. Nick Bennett ahead of Chris Yeomans, and Holly Harris in 4th position, just 0.3 of a second behind this string of riders together.
Yep, a big group of riders are forming at the moment. At front, it's still Josh Birkins who leads the way, makes his gap 4.3 seconds. So this is really the battle which is to watch in the field at the moment. Josh Birkin at the front, still setting the pace and setting a strong pace with 56.7 this time around. What can he do now? 7 laps to go in this race. Now these group of riders are making their way through the final corner in the power out to come down the start-finish straight to make it 6.
Yeah, and Josh Birkin currently 2 seconds almost faster than anybody else on circuit. So that is the difference in performance at the moment. This is Nick Bennett's, the 711 bike with the red fairing on the front there, and Holly Harris bringing up the rear in this in 4th position. So this is the battle for the podium going on, and it's super tight here between these adults.
Yeah, a very, very great race going on. Still a little bit off the lap record, which is set by Will. However, 54.9 is the lap record around here. So what is going to happen? Josh Birkin leads the way from Nick Bennett in 2nd place. Chris Yeomans is in 3rd, and Holly Harris and David Mayat are in 4th and 5th. So all looks good at the moment at the front, and it looks like all riders are having great battles all the way throughout the field, as now they're coming through to set what is another lap.
Yeah, it looks like Mark Payne down to 6th position then on that previous lap. He's having a bit of a nightmare first race this morning. He'll be hoping all of his bad luck comes in this first race and he can make amends in the next 2 today.
Yeah, a slightly different order from what we're used to seeing actually in the Senior MiniMoto class. A lot of upset it seems, but Holly Harris now looking at the back of Chris Yeomans. This would be for the podium. Holly Harris looking down the inside, but she has to back it over there because that corner really closes up, and there's nowhere where you can go with such big bodies and such a small track.
She is much narrower into the corners. Is that just searching for additional lines and grip, or what is she trying to do there? Because she won't be able to distract the rider in front.
Yeah, I think she's just trying to find an opening and just be able to try to upset his rhythm, upset the corner just slightly, even if it means pushing them wide slightly. But now you can see Alberto Venteo in the middle of your picture, and the number 44 bike is in a battle himself. There's battles all the way throughout the field. Alberto Venteo in 8th position at the moment, so a very, very good ride, just trying to get ahead of Keaton Payne. But now Josh Birkin sets another fastest lap. He seems to be setting a fast lap every single lap at this time around, but now riders, as you can see, using all of the track.
Yeah, and I think that was Mark Payne pulling a wheelie on the way over the line as well. just showing off in the middle of our race. It's still got 4 laps to go. It's a bit early to be pulling wheelies.
Yeah, celebrations, and these bikes surprisingly do have a good kick to them, although they're so small. But Alberto Venteo looking down the inside definitely looks faster for the back section of the circuit. Now it looks like having a little look behind him is Keaton Payne, so maybe Keaton Payne feeling the pressure at the moment.
You can tell he knows the riders behind him by either by sound or by sixth sense here. Yeah, looks like Alberto Venteo will be launching an attack very soon.
Yep, and Chris Yeomans at the moment is still in that podium position, and Josh Birkin at the front. He's just ran away with it at the moment. Nick Bennett in 2nd position at the front of your pitch at the moment, coming across the line. He has to somehow bridge a 13.5 second gap in just 3 laps.
Yeah, but of course, the further afield a leader gets, the more pressure they put on themselves to keep the focus, and the easier sometimes it is to make a mistake when you've got no one harrying you from behind. So unlike here, we've got Chris Yeomans with Holly Harris right behind him. She's desperate for this podium.
Yep, she really is. She would love to have a podium here at the Lydd kart circuit. What can Holly Harris do? Holly Harris at the back of this pack at the moment, but Nick Bennett leading it. Nick Bennett on the 711. But of course, Holly Harris is one of our female riders here at FAB. She was racing in the British Talent Cup last season with the FHO team as she comes through and laps.
She was really hampered there, Lewis, coming through. The back marker released everybody except her going into the infield, so that's going to be really frustrating.
Yeah, everyone managed to get past the back marker. The early part of the exit of the corner, well, by the time Holly Harris got to Isaac Green Street, it just was at that awkward point where there's really nowhere else to go. So, laps ticking down, 2 laps to go. Josh Birkin leads the way now by 13 seconds exact, so maybe he's just taking a little breather. There is your race leader there, Josh Birkins. So now he's just got to keep focusing, keep that race lead, even if it means losing 1 or 2 seconds per lap. He's still got it. Yeah,
absolutely. Just keep the bike running. 2 laps to go, as you say. It'll soon be the final lap as he comes through that infield section towards the final corner now on the right hand. There we go. So very soon it's going to be final lap.
And now Josh Birkins is coming around. Some people may refer to him as the Josh Verstappen of Senior MiniMoto racing. He's very, very quick, and you can just see how hard he's pushing.
Oh, Holly Harris has got through.
But yeah, Holly Harris making the move there now. You can just see she's got her eyes on Chris Yeomans on number 85. Some Josh Birkins there, race leader. Last lap of the race now involving back markers. He's still extended that gap to 15 seconds. So Josh Birkins, he's still pushing on, and that's what the Birkins do. The Birkins just keep pushing and pushing until they find the limit, and now Josh Birkin, with many days at the circuit, he's clearly learned where the limit is.
Absolutely remarkable. This is as equal machinery as it gets really here on these Senior MiniMotos. This is and he's not exactly a small rider here. He's a big guy, and it's on his tiny things. We are almost done then. This is the final corner for Josh Birkin, who crosses the line. An incredible win from Josh Birkin, just 9 laps, securing over a dozen seconds, maybe more, as now the remaining riders are fighting for their position as Looks like that was that Mark Payne just waving, or David Meyer waving on back marker through. And it's taken this long, Lewis, for second place, Nick Bennett to come through.
Yeah, Nick Bennett coming through in second position. Chris Yeomans third. Holly Harris didn't manage to get that podium in the finish up, and there is Alberto Venteo still fighting to the line. You could just see how many riders were coming for the picture there. Some of them back markers, some of them fighting for position. What a great race that was for Josh Birkin, who wins the race by 17.8
seconds. It's just, I think that's the biggest margin we have seen in 2 days of racing at Lydd.
Yep. We've had many days racing here at Lydd. Of course, there's quite a few non-starters this time around. So the real question is, can anyone challenge him later on today? Of course, 3 races today, so still 2 more races. Matt Birkin, he's got to be watching at home, and he's got to be watching his brother doing well, just like he was doing on round 1. But Josh Birkin takes the race win by 17.8 seconds. What a result from Nick Bennett and Chris Yeomans on the podium. Holly Harris didn't manage to get that podium in the finish up, in 4th position with Mark Payne in 5th. David Mayat finishes in 6th with Keaton Payne 8th. Lamar Morgan just behind. Alberto Venteo in 9th, and Callum White rounded out our top 10 for the Senior MiniMoto class. So a very, very quick race, and Josh Birkin's showing everyone how it's done.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not his job to slow down. It's everyone else's job to match his pace. Tremendous stuff, and great to see him never drop the throttle or start to relax. Just went for it.
Yeah, he certainly did. He just went for it. But that is the end of race 1, and they still have 2 more races coming up later on. Next up in the classes of racing, it's going to be the Senior MiniMotos for their race 2 here at round 2 at the Lydd Kart Circuit. It's the Senior MiniMotos, it's big riders, little bikes. What is going to happen? Well, it's going to be chaos, and as we've seen in race 1 earlier on today, Josh Birkins stormed away. He
stormed away, absolutely. A winning margin of 17.5 seconds. I wonder if he's going to try and better that this time, but who can stop him? Will it be Rhys Gentry, Mark Payne, Nick Bennett maybe, who will all be going for it, and Holly Harris will be hoping for a slightly better result than she got earlier on, because she was on the tail of a whole string of riders there. You can see one of the juniors just coming through the wrong way down the pit lane, but on foot and having his bike carried back for him.
Yep, exactly as you're mentioning. Holly Harris just off the podium positions, 4th place last time out. She was so close to getting that podium position, but now the riders head out and everyone will get another chance. Of course, Rhys Gentry had to retire early on. Fist bumps, waves and thumbs up from the riders leaving the pit lane. And now Holly Harris, of course, will be racing in BSB this week in the Juniors Supersport Championship at round 1 at Silverstone. So a lot of these FAB riders going on to compete in the British Superbike paddock, mainly in the British Talent Cup, because of course FAB-Racing is officially the road to MotoGP. It's given the status after in 2018 60% of the British Talent Cup grid was made up of FAB-Racing riders. So it just proves that the system is working. But of course, it's not all just about young riders here at FAB. It's something for everyone, and that is what we're seeing now.
Absolutely, yeah. The riders are here and ready to get underway. We can't wait for this one, and it's all been about Birkins so far this race meet, but let's see if anyone can stop him. He will be on second place away from the grid, but he's the lead rider because his brother Matt had to pull out due to other commitments. But Josh had very much had his race run to himself on the previous race, but we can't wait to see if anyone can challenge him.
Yeah, we can't wait. We're going to have to wait and see. We'll have to wait long, though, because it is going to be one warm-up lap before we get underway and before we get racing for what is going to be a great race, a 9-lap grid. But, of course, Matt Birkin will not be starting. That's not Matt Birkin anyway, but Josh Birkin will be starting in second position, which will be the first rider on the grid. Will, however, I do not believe is here either, so he will not be there in that third position slot. Rhys Gentry will be starting 4th with Mark Payton in 5th. Nick Bennett starts in 6th, with Holly Harris in 7th, Chris Yeomans in 8th, and Keaton Payne and Alberto Venteo on the 5th row of the grids. Callum White will start in 11th next to Lamar Morgan in 12th. David Maya and Gary Eldrig starts in the 7th row of the grid, with Jerome Williams and Rob Gentry on the 8th row of the grid. Isaac Greenstreet starts in 17th, with Steve Johns in 18th and Benson Bishop in 19th. Rounding out our Senior MiniMoto grid,
we've got Jensen Bishop on the rear of the grid there, but it's easy to make a mistake from having to read so many names in one day. Well, we're about to get underway. Then it's just a blank right-hand side of the grid, a full left-hand side of the grid. Josh Birkin will take the red lights and he'll be on his way now, and it's time to go racing here at the Senior MiniMoto's Race 2, and Josh Birkin straight away into the lead with the orange leather rider in second place, clearing away. Nice start from him, and everybody coming through the sweepers nice and safely so far. It's Josh Birkin ahead of Reece Gentry and Mark Payne so far. We'll get an update on exactly where everybody sits across the line for the first time, but through they go very nicely indeed through the long wide sweeper at the back of the circuit.
Bennett on the final position of the podium at the moment, but Reece Gentry trying to get onto the back of Josh Birkins, trying to hold him because he knows Josh Birkins can run away with it. But of course, Reece Gentry wasn't in the race one earlier on today, so we do not actually know what he can do, but they can see battles all the way down the field. Round the outside goes David Myatt. David Myatt also having the fight with Alberto Venteo at the same time. Can he pick up any pieces that may fall here? But Josh Birkins leads the way by 0.2 of a second from Reece Gentry, and Nick Bennett in 3rd with Mark Payne in 4th, and Chris Yeomans round out the top 5 with Holly Harris just behind.
It's great to see that Reece Gentry might be able to take that battle to Josh Birkin this time, and he's faster lap on that first lap than Josh Birkin managed, so it looks like we're on for a real cracker here at the Senior MiniMotos.
We're on for a cracker. The sun's out, bikes are out. What's more to love? Josh Birkin's really going for it now, but Holly Harris, she's trying a slightly different line there from the bike in front of her. That's Chris Yeomans in front of her. Same as last race, actually. She struggled to find the way past Chris Yeomans, so she's going to be using that experience from race 1 in race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. She might want to try experimenting on the outside line, as down in the inside line goes a successful move into the infield as well, and these big riders trying to get the bikes away from those slower corners. It's a real challenge on the traction.
Yeah, David Myatt making a great move in the infield section there as they power the way out to start what is going to be 7 laps to go in this race. Josh Birkin still leads, but this is a great battle going on here, and you can just see Chris Yeomans really having to defend at the moment, really having to use all of his skill, all of his ability to try and keep Mark Payne behind.
Yeah, it's very hard and tight fought racing here in that 4th, 5th and 6th. It's Mark lost out the position to Chris Yeomans on that previous lap, and now Chris Yeomans might be trying to get a little gap here because Holly Harris is right on their tail as well.
Yeah, Holly Harris is right on the tail at the moment, and now she's having to really push that motorcycle to its limits. You can just see there actually a slow rider, and it looks like she just tried to find any way past, and luckily she got it done in the infield section. Josh Birkin, by the way, set fastest lap after fastest lap at 56.2, but now Reece Gentry's just on a 56 dead. 0.2 of a second separates the front, and we just see Holly Harris try to close that gap. Of course, she is the sister of Fraser Rogers, who is a very accomplished Superstock 1000 racer. He's been on the podium, won races, but sadly he hasn't been doing too much racing in the past couple of years. So Fraser, it'd be great to see you here at FAB-Racing again. We know that you came a couple of times last year. It'd be great for you to return, but racing is happening all the way down the field. There is your leaders. There is Josh Birkin and Reece Gentry battling it through. 0.2 of a second separates the leader, and last time at the line the gap went down.
Just to let you know, of course, that wasn't a back marker at the slow rider that Holly Harris passed. It was Mark Payne, who just seemed to have some problem with the bike on the way into the infield. So Holly Harris straight through an open door, and then we've got a fantastic challenge here. Gentry, Birkin, who will come out on top.
Yeah, we're going to have to just wait and see. We won't have to wait long because it's 5 laps to go in this race, and Josh Birkin 0.3 ahead at the line, extended the gap by just 1/10. But Reece Gentry appears to have the pace. He appears to have all the He's learning every single corner where Josh Birkin's fast, and he's one of the riders right now in the field. The only rider in the field at the moment, actually, that can match the pace of Josh Birkin.
Yeah, number 100, and he's got the 100 very clearly on his back as well, which helps us from our commentary position. But Gentry biding his time, I feel, at the moment. Lewis, do you think he can actually take it to the point where he can challenge Josh Birkin?
Yeah, I think Rhys Gentry has what it takes to be able to at least push Josh Birkin to his limit, make him try absolutely everything in the book. But we're going to have to wait and find out. Of course, number 100, he's a big fan of Neil Hodgson, so of course the British World Superbike champion and British Superbike champion. So Rhys Gentry trying to recreate some of his skills. Maybe wants to win a championship himself this year. So we're going to have to wait and find out. 4 laps to go, no thou. And it's just 0.3 of a second as now they're trying to get past Isaac Greenstreet. This is not going to help Josh Birkin, but both of them get past now, and that gap has definitely got smaller.
It has, absolutely. Unusual to see a Greenstreet and one of the slower vehicles. We'll see him later on in the sidecar coverage, but right now he's not quite on the pace of the leaders here for the Senior Minimotos. This is Josh Birkin versus Rhys Gentry for the win here with 4 laps to go.
Yep, just 4 laps to go, as you said. Now they're in the infield section. They're going towards the end of this lap, but Lamar Morgan has just got ahead of Mark Payne. So Mark Payne dropping down the order quite a lot, so he must have a big issue with his bike at the moment, and they looked very, very slow, not what we're used to seeing them. But at the moment, Josh Birkin leads away 0.2 of a second. Alberto Vinteo having a great ride at the moment in 7th position, just behind David Myatt.
As the leaders continue their epic exchange at the moment, we've got Nick Bennett in 3rd and Chris Yeomans ahead of Harris just behind this group, but they are 11 seconds down the road. Trying to pounce on any opportunity is Rhys Gentry on our screen now.
Yep, of course, Rob Gentry also on the circuit at the moment, 14th position, but now Rhys Gentry trying to go for 1st position, but he looks too far back for this braking zone here, so not what you would want for the number 100, because you really have to say now, next lap's gonna have to be where he has to start piling on that pressure.
Yeah, its time is running out now, and in fact, if anything, Josh Birkin had a much better lap that time round. It's much clearer, and there it is, a 55.885 compared with a 56.702. Josh Birkin absolutely starting to get faster and faster as this race progresses.
Yeah, but here's your battle for the final place on the podium. It's Nick Bennett and Chris Yeomans and Holly Harris in 3rd, 4th and 5th position. Nick Bennett leading the way on the 711 machine. He's wanted to keep on, he's wanting to claim another podium position. Of course, a good race one for him and a good race one for Chris Yeomans, who was also on the podium last race.
Absolutely, yeah. The gap at the front now opening up to just over a second. So perhaps Rhys Gentry hasn't quite got the legs on his challenge, as Holly Harris with that characteristic narrow line on into the sweepers, and through they will come. We've got some action happening in the pit lane in front of us, if you can hear that sound coming through, but right now it is super tight between Bennett, Yeomans and Harris.
Yep, super tight as the last lap flag is out. Josh Birkin, another 55.8 last time around. He's extended the gap by 2 seconds. Maybe he was just having a good play about, just trying to play about Rhys Gentry, just trying to push him to his limit. But now he's away at the front for the final lap of his race. But 3rd place has definitely not decided.
No, absolutely. Josh Birkin just making sure that he showed his pace right at the very end. Maybe was just toying with him slightly. And this is your leader. This is Josh Birkin at the moment, going into the infield section, Lewis, to finish this race off.
Yep, going into the infield section to finish off race 2 of the Senior Minimoto class. He has just one more corner to get around. He's had a perfect race. He's shown that he does not crack under pressure. Josh Birkin will win in race 2 of the Senior Minimoto class. He'll be delighted with that. Of course, the only Birkin on track for round 2, with Matt Birkin not being able to be here due to other commitments. But the checker flag is fully out now, and wait to see who will claim 3rd position. David Myatt looks like he will get it. Yes, he will. David Myatt on the 711, just ahead, 0.2 ahead of Chris Yeomans. So great ride for all the podium men.
Yeah, and a little wheelie for David Myatt as well, just crossing over the line. Some great performances throughout the field. A bit of a problem there for Mark Payne throughout the race. He was clearly suffering with a slower bike. And he was looking down occasionally, and we've seen him tumble down. Unfortunately, he's finished outside of the top 10 in 11th position. But a very well fought senior Minimoto race we had on our hands.
Yep, very well thought. 15 starters, 15 finishers though, so great stat that to have 100% finish rate. So good to see no one had any mechanicals, terminal mechanical errors anyway, and they didn't have any mistakes which made them crash. So Josh Birkin now celebrating by not going through the infield, just going straight through to the pit lane.
Here is your top 10 then. Josh Birkin winning by 3.9 seconds in the end from Rhys Gentry. It was a podium for Nick Bennett, followed by Chris Yeomans, Holly Harris in 5th position, with David Myatt and Alberto Benteo in 7th, Keaton Payne in 8th, Lamar Morgan in 9th, with Callum White in 10th, followed down in the order by Mark Payne, Gary Eldridge, Jerome Richards, Rob Gentry and Isaac Greenstreet, who set his personal best on the final lap. Okay, so the final Minimoto race of our coverage and for these seniors coming up now. This is the final outing for the big humans on mini bike category, the senior Minimotos. Here to tackle this one. We've got a large grid as well. I'm guessing that a lot of these adults have taken the day off work to stay here, sometimes supporting their juniors, but also they'd rather be racing than working, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, you can't blame them for that. Some of them taking the day off work, majority of them probably taking the day off work, but it's a championship, it's a highly competitive championship, so every single point matters. The fact that Matt Birkin is not racing today, I'm sure he'll be watching along at home. So hello Matt, if you're listening, you're going to watch your brother Josh race once again from what is effectively pole position. He starts in 2nd place on the grid, but the first bike on the grid, as there's no one else in front of him. So Josh Birkin, he'll be looking for a great result, because the 2nd win, it didn't come in as easy as his first.
No, it certainly didn't. It was Rhys Gentry who took the fight to Josh Birkin on the previous race. Rhys Gentry didn't feature on our first race, so Josh Birkin had it all to himself, and he won by 17.5 seconds. But Josh Birkin was followed very closely by Rhys Gentry on the previous race. Rhys Gentry directly behind him on the grid and wearing the black overalls with orange sleeves and legs rather than the red shoulders of Josh Birkin. So you don't get to see much on the bikes, but you can see the 711 red bike there as well. And that is Nick Bennett, and I think he'll feature in the fight for the podium as well.
Yep, I think that's fair to say. Josh Birkins leads the pack away for what is a massive grid, 19 bikes.
19 bikes indeed, although we're short of our original pole sitter. Josh Birkin then will start alone on the front row, with Will Howarth and Rhys Gentry behind him. On row 3, starting 5th, Mark Payne and Nick Bennett. 7th is Holly Harris and Chris Yeomans. 9th, Keaton Payne, and 10th, Alberto Venteo. Callum White, Lamar Morgan behind them, David Myatt and Gary Eldridge. Then comes Jerome Richards in 15th, Rob Gentry in 16th. Isaac Greenstreet's in 17th, Steve Johns 18th, and at the back, Jensen Bishop will start in 19th position.
Yep, a great race that is coming up, and it's going to be something that to look out for these guys, the senior Minimoto guys, making their way through the final corner. And to start what is the last race of the weekend, it's race 3, and it's going to be a cracker.
Last race for them, of course. We've still got plenty to come, sure. So we will be underway for you very shortly. Who can pip Josh Birkins at the start? Because I think if no one can challenge him in the first lap, I think he might try and get himself away from the rest of the grid as before. But there you go, under starters orders now, and the grid is formed. No Will Howarth, so it's just Josh Birkin and Rhys Gentry who will compete, with Mark Payne in the camo outfit on the outside, and it's lights out and go away from the start, and it's straight away, easy one for Josh Birkin. It's actually Rhys Gentry moving down into 5th position, and there you've got Nick Bennett challenging for 2nd up against it looked like Mark Payne, who managed to get himself right up there into the provisional podium, but a bit of a bad start there for Rhys Gentry.
Yeah, no, Rhys Gentry would be wanting Josh Birkin, though. It's a pretty good start from him, and Rhys Gentry has a lot to do. He just needs to keep his head cool, because we know with the riders being so big on these mini-motos and with it being so much heavier than what these bikes were originally designed for, it means that added weight on that front tyre, and it's so easy for you to crash. But there's Rhys Gentry going down the inside of Chris Yeomans and trying to move up the order into fourth.
Yeah, he had so much pace in the previous round in Rhys Gentry. It doesn't surprise me to see him already getting those overtakes done. But Nick Bennett is defending from Mark Payne on the way through the final corner as well. The 711 car, that is Nick Bennett in second place, but currently on fastest lap and over a second faster than the rest of the field is Josh Birkin away at the front. Yep. Here comes Rhys again, down the inside.
Yep, Rhys Gentry down the inside of Mark Payne there. Great move. All the riders straight away putting in pace. There's Holly Harris coming through your picture, chasing the pack and chasing Chris Yeomans and David Mayat for what will be fifth position. So still a little bit of work to do for her, but hopefully she can make an inroads. And there is the battle with Rhys Gentry right at the back, actually, of Nick Bennett for second position. Rhys Gentry in second position already. Now he has to really push hard. 2.5 seconds was the gap between Josh Birkins and Nick Bennett last lap when he was in second position. So it looks like Rhys Gentry is going to have to at least close a gap of 2.5 seconds.
It does indeed. Round to the wide entry for the final corner for Rhys Gentry, and as they cross the line, he is 3.3 seconds behind, running still about half a second slower down Josh Birkin, but now he's in clear air and we'll see his true potential.
Yeah, we're going to see his true potential, how much pace he has, and if he can get away from Nick Bennett. We can hear how much wind there is now. The wind has definitely picked up this afternoon compared to what it was this morning. So these riders, it seems that every single time they're going out, track conditions slightly different, especially with the wind.
Yeah, and the wind is not steady either. The wind is gusting. And that is a rider's worst nightmare, is an unpredictable wind that changes direction but also changes strength, because you just don't know what you're going to get when you're braking into the heavy braking zone.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get. But there is Holly Harris going into the infield session. Chris Yeomans as well leading this pack. But you can just see how tight it gets and how tight you have to be to the inside there to maximise all the room you have in this mini-moto. But there is your race leader. There's Josh Birkins, and there's your second place man. You can see Rhys Gentry. Can't say he's not trying.
No, absolutely not. No, that was another quick lap, but he was still bested by now 0.4 of a second. So he's building the speed, is Rhys Gentry, but not enough to catch up front. We saw David Myatt very wide and off the ideal line going through the infield section. I thought perhaps Holly Harris might have an opportunity, but he's picked his pace back up again. The white leathers with the black is David Myatt. In fact, I think he positions himself quite close to our commentary box when he's not racing. Holly Harris directly behind them and trying to catch this group, but we haven't seen her be particularly aggressive so far, and I'd like to see a bit more elbows out from Holly.
Yeah, Holly Harris, of course, so does have Silverstone coming up this weekend for the British Superbike Championship, making her debut in the Junior Super Sport class, so she will want to reserve herself, not getting any injury before the weekend starts. So she's out there having fun. She's also helping out at the M4 Race School, same as Luca Allen, and really helping these younger riders develop and getting some extra track time out there.
Yeah, of course. And I guess the best way for a teacher to teach their student is to continue to be practicing themselves. So they know what the bike's doing. They know what the track is telling the bike, so they can actually communicate directly for them.
So there you can see the battle with Alberto Venteo leading the way. This is for 9th and 10th position, and 8th place just ahead actually of Callum White. So Alberto Venteo has been going very, very well this weekend, but you can just see how bad Lamar Morgan was this position. Lamar Morgan started racing here at FAB just last year, and you can already see how fast he is and how much confidence he has on that bike.
Absolutely. Driving like someone with far more experience under his belt is Lamar Morgan, and we've got ahead of them both Alberto Venteo and Callum White. But as they cross the line then, things are getting closer and closer in terms of outright pace. 56.6 for Josh Birkin, a 56.9 for Rhys Gentry. Nick Bennett, another second slower that time than the lead pairing on the 711 bike in P3 with Mark Payne, Chris Yeomans, David Myatt, Holly Harris, and then this battle. Callum White, Alberto Venteo and Lamar Morgan, your top 10 at this about halfway stage with 3 to go.
Yep, so Holly Harris still chasing this battle at the moment for 5th position, and for 6th position, just ahead of her, David Mayach, who really needs to try to find a way past soon. Only 3 laps to go, but now Isaac Greenstreet's there, and now they really need to use that to their advantage. So it looks like they all actually got past pretty cleanly there, down the straight. 3 laps to go. This is where the hammer goes down as they come across the line soon to make it 2.
Fastest lap, just to underline that, from Josh Birkin at 56.2. This time on the Senior MiniMoto bike, of course, from Rhys Gentry's 57 flat. So definitely Josh building the speed towards the end of this.
Yeah, Josh Birkin definitely putting in fastest lap towards the end of the race, and Josh Birkin, it seems without that added pressure of Rhys Gentry, he's able just to go out there, do his own thing, run nice and smooth, run his own lines, not have to worry about anyone else, and that is how he's doing these fastest laps.
It looks like we're on course at least for a 3 from 3 situation, as we saw in the rookie round as well. So this is Gentry now coming into the infield with a very busy grid in front of him of riders, but here is your race leader. This is Josh Birkin then coming around the final corner to start his final lap.
Yep, it's final lap time for the number 2, Josh Birkin. No fastest lap this time around. He's clearly cruising because of a 57.1 that time around. That's almost a second slower than his fastest lap, but a 6-second gap between Rhys Gentry.
By the look of what we saw in the infield, I think he was passing 2 back markers at once who were locked in their own battle at the same point. So that could explain why that lap was with that slight bit slower. You wouldn't want to risk too much. 6-second gap on the final lap here in the lead.
You wouldn't want to risk too much, but this is Josh Birkin. He is a Birkin, which means it's pushing all the way into the line. Josh Birkin, he's not got his brother Matt this weekend. He's not got his sparring partner. He's not got Rhys Gentry this race either. So he's had to do it all on himself. Josh Birkin wins the final race of the weekend. It's been an amazing result from him. Matt Birkin's not here, but Josh is, and Josh is on the top step of the podium. Josh Birkin is your winner for race 3 of the Senior MiniMoto class, and in the 55 seconds, a 55.9 on the final lap. Wow, what a great lap that was.
Great
and
show.
For 2nd position, it's Rhys Gentry and Nick Bennett should come home to take 3rd place, and there is a gaggle of riders coming up now. Mark Payne, Chris Yeomans, David Maya and Holly Harris, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th.
Yep, and let's see how that battle finished for Callum White. He secures 9th and very closely 12 thousandths of a second away from Alberto Venteo. Gary Eldridge looks like he's going to secure that final position into the 11th place, and then is Jerome Richards, Rob Gentry in 13th. And I think Isaac Greenstreet will cross the line now, and he does. So we were hoping to see a close battle, but Josh Birkin was just peerless.
Yeah, it was, and great battles all the way down the field. As you mentioned there, Lamar Morgan managed to get in front of the likes of Callum White and Alberto Venteo in the end, which is very, very impressive. But now the riders headed back into the pit lane, and Rhys Gentry, there was nothing he could have done there.
No. He did his level best, I'm sure, but a poor start really did cost him. I think, though, if he can get it in the mix in that first lap for the next meeting, he could be able to say something about the dominance of the Birkins.
Yeah, the Birkins are very, very dominant. It's a fast family. I think that's fair to say. The Birkins are known in the FAB-Racing paddock, especially in the Senior MiniMoto class. They've been here 4 years and they've been winning races 4 years. So it's great to see Rhys Gentry having a little chat actually with Nick Bennett about that race, and Josh Birkin having a little whistle maybe about his start, because that start really decided the fate of his race.
Yeah, that's looking fairly forthright, that conversation. But a great race for the Senior MiniMotos completes a wonderful weekend for them.